But his girlfriend looked like Cher, and he was in Baltimore, Maryland, and we'd go out to bars and stuff. It was kind of funny. I mean, people actually thought that we were Sonny and Cher.
Yeah.
But now they don't even know who Sonny and Cher is.
Right.
Yeah. But
He used to look just like him. Can you show me a picture?
well, I've got here. Take a look. Just pass it around and flip through that thing.
Oh my goodness, yes. Oh, jeez.
Oh, yeah, he looked like Sonny. I've seen that. He's in the.
You never could sing like him, though, I bet.
I got you, babe.
He's even got a
I
stash.
don't think you can call what Sonny did singing.
Mr. Kelly's even got a mustache for it.
Yeah. Well, look at the next picture. I've got a fro and a mustache on the next page.
A fro?
Yeah.
Hold on, are you serious?
Yeah. I'm sitting there with an army shirt on. I think 1990 or so. I've been very, even though I've had 16 surgeries, I'll show you how lucky I've been. I'm in a doctor's office, and he says, you got to go to the hospital. He says, you're having a heart attack. I said, okay. I said, I can't go to the hospital. I got to go back to work. He goes, you can either go to the hospital or go to the morgue. It's up to you. And I said, I guess I'll go to the hospital. So I go to the hospital, and they said, yep, you're having a heart attack.
Oh my God.
So I go in, and they put in a stent and a couple other things and let me out. About a year later, maybe 2 years later, I really don't know. I have no concept of time. A couple years later, whenever it was, I'm in the hospital, and I'm having this cardiologist is doing a catheterization on me. A renowned thoracic surgeon is in the room at the time. He's the head of thoracic surgery at St. Joe's Hospital in Tampa. And this cardiologist is, he's watching this cardiologist. I have no idea why he's there or whatever. Anyway, he tells the cardiologist, he says, get him admitted. I need to open heart on him right now. He said, I said, you got to be kidding me. He goes, I got to crack your chest, my friend. And so, bam, I had to have open heart surgery. And but I was lucky. It was the guy was right there. He says, no, there's no waiting. You got to do it right now. Now imagine if I was having whatever was going on with me in a car somewhere, or at home or whatever, had to ride there. I'd probably never made it. But I've been lucky to have good doctors and so on. But here's the thing. What I did was I had a small karate studio in Urbana, Ohio, called Ohio Karate Institute, and I started going down around the Warren Youngstown area, and I met a guy that I started going to karate tournaments at he was sponsoring karate tournaments. So I started going down there, and the guy was very successful. Back in that, you're talking late 60s, early 70s, he was in classes, which was unheard of for a karate studio. I mean, $6,000, $7,000 a month rent and stuff like that. It was unheard of. But he was successful. He had a school that he closed, and he wanted to sell me. Anyway, I'm seeing this guy, and at some point I see that he thinks he's hustling me or whatever. And I liked the area, but I didn't like the school or the deal that he was trying to make with me. But he was trying to get me to come with him. So I just kind of folded my tent at that point, and I had a 66 Riviera at that point in time, and I got in it, and I started on the East Coast in Baltimore, and I went across the country, back out to California, stayed at karate studios and people I knew or whatever, and slept on the floor and looked and saw what everybody was doing in the country with karate. And I came back there, and as I told you, Warren, Ohio, Packard Electric hired all the women. They had like 14,000 women there at their heyday. And the General Motors assembly plant, the women were making $14, $15, $16 an hour, whatever. The husbands were making 20 or whatever an hour at the General Motors plant. Everybody had money. Everybody was driving Cadillacs and everything because they all wanted, if they weren't in the mob, they wanted everybody to think they were in the mob. And GM cars, they, everybody worked for GM, so everybody drove GM cars. You know, if you work for Packard Electric, that's General Motors, you know. So it was all GM cars. And,
It's a nice area.
yeah. And
Good place.
I went there and when I went to Warren, there were 22 karate studios. And when I left, there was one. Because I put them all out of business. I put them all out of business, including the guy who was trying to sell me that school. But him and I became fierce competitors, okay? But this guy had a foothold. He'd been there a long time, and he used to be a Arthur Murray dance instructor. So he was very familiar with how private lessons worked and everything. Anyway, I wound up with a TV show, and the first one ever on network TV.
This picture right here. Television.
And it broadcast out of Youngstown, Ohio, WYTT 33, channel 33, ABC TV. And I wound up, I owned it, produced it, the whole smear was mine, so I started advertising. And I wound up with, I had around 250 students, $10 a week is what it cost back then. And they would come in and pay $10 each time they took a private lesson. I taught all private lessons. And so I had a cash flow every day, but we'd open at 10 a.m. in the morning to 10 p.m. at night. So every half hour on half hour, there was a person coming in taking a private lesson. So I eventually wound up where I was making a lot of money, and I hired instructors, and then each instructor got $5 for teaching a private lesson. Okay, privates were half an hour long. So they were making $10 an hour basically in the late 60s, early 70s, which was pretty good pay. And I wound up having like 12 schools at one time, and one thing led to another, and then I took a guy under my arm named Gene Clair that was the lead clarinet player at Harding High School in Warren, Ohio. Anyway, he was just a young kid, and good karate guy and everything. He wound up being ranked 4th in the world back in those days as a fighter. And at that time, I was tired of karate, and I used to drive Porsches all the time. So the Porsche dealer, and at that point in my life, I could go in and go, give me that one over there and pay cash for it. You know what I mean? There's no financing needed, but you know. So I've been buying cars for I don't know how many years, the Porsche dealer. And the guy that ran it, I put on a couple karate demonstrations for him at this dealership and blowed it up on TV and everything. So he said, why don't you come to work for me? So I said, okay, we've changed, you know. So I started working there, and I was kind of like a little local celebrity type deal there. So I started selling a lot of Porsches, and grew more distance from the karate studio. And Gene, I kind of took under my wing, and because I was involved in the car business, he started driving Lincoln Continentals and stuff. And, you know, he was like 18, 19 years old. And, got him an American Express card, got him on track, and so he was going for electrical engineering at Youngstown University. And comes a kid that could barely chew gum and walk at the same time. I mean, he was a very uncoordinated, very withdrawn child. He comes from a single mother. Rough life, basically. And he went ahead and got graduated from Youngstown with a degree in electrical engineering. I sold him the karate studio there for $60,000. when he was 20, whatever. He paid every penny of it. It supported him through school. He got a job with Cuyahoga, the electric company in Cleveland. What county is that in? Yeah, well, whatever it is, he got a job with the Cuyahoga County as an electrical engineer. He stayed there. He decided to go back to school and went to school and became an attorney. And again, the karate studio funded all of this up to that time, and he became a. So.
Became very successful through
Yeah.
karate.
And he was all of those things, the stick-to-itiveness and the discipline, and for a kid that had nothing to, and the thing that I gave to him was taught him about credit. I had to pay the bill. American Express card would have got 20, but those were good opportunities. But I was really proud of you. Yeah.
Well, I'm sure he's pretty
What?
respectful of you.
He stayed in touch with him?
No.
No.
It's one of those things.
Yeah.
It's just
So he doesn't have to eat.
kind of a sad thing from my end, that people move on, you gotta let it go,
That's true, that's true.
Just like with your children, when they start ignoring you, you gotta let it go.
Can we talk about J2? I'm excited to talk about J2.
All
I got
right.
some stories. Should we start eating now and then get back to the stories?